have access to food, water again. So we still need help from the government. Let them come to assist us.
This is Atani community in Ogbaru local government area of Anambra State, one of the 7 local governments that were affected by the flood that hit about 25 states in Nigeria in the year 2022. The flood, which hit the country the hardest perhaps, affected 2.5 million people and displaced 1.3 million people. In Ogbaru, the flood affected 561,000 people and displaced 41,000. People had to leave their homes to find a new home in IDP camps within the area. Unfortunately, not all of them found spaces in the IDP camps. They are yet again confronted with hard decisions on leaving their homes or staying in them to avoid being robbed of their hard-earned monies and property. In this special report, Premium Times speaks to residents of Atani who could not find a home at the IDP camp last year and what their expectations are of the coming flood.
My name is Francis Uyanne from Atani, about local government in Anambra State. I am married. I have 4 kids.
I am Edith Nwabunwanne. I am from Otuocha, Anam. I moved to Atani because of farming. I am a farmer with 6 children. My name is Ngozi Onia. I live with my husband and 2 children. I am a pepper, pumpkin, and cassava farmer. My name is Angulika Godwin. I am from Anam, but I live in Atani here in Ogbaru local government. I am a farmer and a hairdresser with 3 children. Last year's flood chased my kids and I from our home. We lived on the main access road. We could not feed either because the flood had covered everywhere and there was no way to get food. I lost all my farm produce as a result of the flood. We had to use canoes to access our houses. We could not cook. We resorted to eating whatever we found. When anyone cooked around, we all rushed and dipped our hands into their pots or plates for whatever we could get. Our children were sick, but there were no means of getting medical attention. There was no money, and even if there was money, there was no way out. We lost a lot of children and adults. A lot of people actually died during this period. Last year's flood dealt a heavy blow on me and my family. It destroyed all my crops. It almost claimed my home. I could not even get a boat to go harvest my cassava. My children, my husband and I were distraught. We had nowhere to go to. My in-laws were calling to ask after the children, but we did not know where to go. We had nowhere to go. My husband and I then resolved to sleep in the flood that had taken over our home. We put a chair in the water and slept in it because we had nowhere to go to. The camps were filled. We suffered greatly. We began to contemplate if to die or to live. We were not only thinking about ourselves, we also had our children to think about. I cried so much during this period. I was tired. I did not know where to take my children to. The camps were filled. And they were sick too. We could not eat because there was no firewood or even gas to cook. There was no way to fill our gas if we wanted to. The whole place was covered in flood. As an adult, you could endure the hunger, but the children could not. They would always cry out, "Mommy, mommy, we're hungry." It was always a struggle fixing up something for the kids to eat. I almost lost one of my children to the flood while they were sleeping. We were so hot. My husband and I cried so much about that particular incident. Little did I know that I would have lost my husband too. On one occasion, my husband was asleep on the chair we put in the water, and he fell into the water while he was asleep. But for my timely intervention, I would have lost my husband too.
Last year, 2022, we experienced a flood and the total loss in our farm activities. It is so devastated. We lost so much in terms of rice farm, cassava, potato. In fact, we lost all. The effect was so much on us. We didn't come out with anything. Apart from the farm, we lost our properties too. It affected the phones, shares, documents, clothes. In fact, even the house. If you can have a look at the back, we have to start a new house because of that. It's not just me alone. It's a family thing, because I don't have the capacity or the financial muscle to come up with such projects. So I have other people, my brothers and sisters, that will come together to come up with such. During the flood, we slept outside. We don't even feeding was difficult. The mosquito, we don't even have access to good water. We don't even have a place to, for excretion purpose, don't have a place. Everywhere, the main roads, we are covered by flood. So, and we don't even have network. We are cut off from the world. We don't have access to energy.
My kids and I had to move from our home that was flooded to another house where we had paid for. But we were again forced to move from the house. We moved house 3 times in fact. And the last house where we moved to, we lived upstairs and we were stuck because there was no way to get down when the flood started. I lost everything last year to the flood. I lost my farm. Now I no longer farm. I could not get any canoes to recover anything from the farm because anyone who asked for a canoe, they said they were using it. One day, the flood got to my salon, but we were running for our lives and we couldn't immediately save my salon. When we returned, the shop had been swallowed by the flood. Thankfully, we were able to recover some things. I had to borrow money to rebuild the shop, but up to now, I have not been able to restock it. We had no food and we couldn't find any. When my children got sick, we stayed on the lookout for anyone with a canoe to help buy paracetamol. The flood dealt with us greatly, but we thank God that we're still alive. Recall that the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has predicted that there will be even more rainfall this year starting at an earlier period, and rainfall in Anambra would happen for an extended period. What could this mean for the residents of Ogbaru? We are currently between a rock and a hard place. We are almost helpless, if not hopeless, with no one to turn to. We farmers are now borrowing money and traveling to Delta State to buy cassava seedling to plant because we lost all our seedlings to the flood. The floods are coming back and are already ruining our plants. We're in big trouble. We do not know where to go from here.
Talking about the flood coming this year, it's going to be another disaster, and I don't know how we are going to go. Since when we were facing the issue of hunger, will be another thing again, because we don't even have money to feed. You don't see where you will buy. If you have the money, you don't even see a hotel where you say, let me go and buy food and eat. So it's something that I don't want us to experience such a thing again, if it can be possible. If I have anything to do to stop it personally, I will do. And I think, I don't know, I'm praying every day for God to intervene.
My husband and I are in so much debt, and we're trying so hard to clear our debts. The people we owe are almost chasing us out of our homes. Now we hear that the flood is coming back. Not just that it's coming back, we see it already. It is already affecting our yams. We are now forced to harvest premature yams, which will yield no profit in the market. No one buys them at any reasonable prices at the markets. We're in so much debt. We are confused, scared and anxious. We hear another flood is coming, but we do not know what to expect.
We're asking
We're begging the government to come to our help. They should come and help us. The flood has destroyed a lot. My husband and I are in so much debt because of the flood. Our creditors are driving us out of our homes.
We are
asking the government to help us, especially with the camps. They were overcrowded last year with different people, including those who needed medical attention and could not get it. We're pleading with them to help us build more camps, including hospitals, to also help us in any way possible ahead of the upcoming flood, because this time, the flood will kill more people. We're begging the government to help us by protecting us when the time comes, so we can live at least. We're no longer talking about making money. We just want to be alive and protected, we and our children. We were left by ourselves last year. The camps were filled up. Perhaps the government should build more camps for us so that we can find shelter when the flood hits again.
But this is higher than this foundation. It means we need to find another place again. For now, it might serve as a temporary solution because we don't know how big the coming one will be. And but if we come, we are still going to face challenges as well. You can stay in the house, but you cannot have access to food, water again. So we still need help from the government. If there's anything they can do, or international donors, anyone that can, individuals, private institutions, NGOs, anyone that can, any organization that can help, let them come to assist us. We really need their help this time around. We don't have any other home except here. We can't run away from our community. It is not by our fault that we found ourselves in this community. That is nature for you. So we need help from the government, from individuals, NGOs that assist us financially, that assist us in material things, anything they can offer. Even in the school, if they can offer scholarship to kids, it will go a long way to assist. So